Oh, hi, I'm Carly Kane, and I'll be telling the story of Hansel and Gretel.
Beautiful.
This is one of the craziest things to be surrounded by cameras when you're this high. Okay, so this is the history of Hansel and Gretel. It is really, really, truly so upsetting and really terrible that a children's book was based on this, but it takes place in medieval Germany. That's where this story originates from. Some truth of during the Great Famine. I don't remember the exact dates, but we're talking like 1812, butter churning. I saw some, keywords in my research, Black Death, terrifying. Sounds like a horrible time. So there were literally just parents that were so hungry that they would just let their kids into the woods to die, I don't know. What a terrible, terrible thing. I don't know if then they would go back and start eating, but this was I don't know if it was there were just kids running around the forest. I don't know if that's why there's so many kid ghosts today, but this is just this was just not, it makes me sick saying it. Parents were just letting their kids into the forest because they literally felt like there was nothing left. Didn't even maybe let them die in a bed at home and starve with their family. No, they were go into the woods and figure it out. Now, this story takes place in once upon a time in medieval Germany, and there's a family, and they're struggling, and there's a father, I imagine. His name is Charlie. He's a quiet man. He makes bread in the mornings and through the evenings. He loves his children, but he feels tied down by his new wife because he hasn't processed the loss of his previous lover. He sings himself little songs. He goes, bread, bread. He sings to the bread, and he really works on that, but he doesn't show that love to his children who really need him. He can't even make it anymore. He can't provide to the market. They live so far, they're in the middle of the woods. So there's a huge famine, it's very sad. The stepmom already just has a lot of anger. She's a narcissist. Audrey, she, married into the family when the kids were very young. Honestly, they're not getting food, but Audrey needs alone time with Charlie. Audrey's I want the kids gone. And they're a burden in general, and I hate them because I can't have my own children. And Charlie's oh, shit, I'm not ready. Those are my children ultimately, but he hasn't let himself love them because he can't process the loss of their mother. And every time he looks at them, he sees her, So he's you know what? Let's do it. Let's give up my kids. Anything for my wife. Hansel and Gretel don't even know they love their papa. They love, I think they have a very whimsical, they like to, they'll play in the dirt. They have fun no matter where they are, jump in a puddle, I think they are connected, whether they're a year or two apart, sometimes I think they're cousins maybe. So Hansel and Gretel are throwing the ball around. They're having a good time. Woo, woo. They're throwing it around. They're having a great time. All of a sudden, the ball goes, Hansel misses it, runs, it knocks on his parents' door. He hears muffled, and all of a sudden he hears Audrey, we're taking them. They're going to the forest. And Charlie's I can't, they're my kids, I love them. And Audrey's we have to eat. It's us or them. We eat the kids or we leave them. And Charlie's I love you, I'll do anything for you. Let's get rid of them. And Hansel's that's my dad. Hansel runs back. He's Gretel, head to the garden and grab the pebbles. We have to be prepared. We're getting kidnapped tomorrow. And Gretel's holy shit. Gretel's putting pebbles in her dress, and Hansel's putting it in his pockets, which, that's how the outfits were then 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And so Hansel and Gretel think, should we run? They're no, we're already going to the woods, so we might as well try and stay. And then they wake up in the morning, Charlie's breakfast, and it's 2 little crumbs and 1 grape each.
Charlie.
I know. And Hansel and Gretel are oh, last meal. So they all go on their family walk. They're all holding hands. All of a sudden, Charlie looks to his children and is like, sorry. And Hansel and Gretel are like, yeah, Papa. Like, they knew it was coming. So Charlie and Audrey leave. They're not really fighting back. But they had dropped pebbles the whole way home. Like raindrops or little droplets of poop all the way down into the forest. Gretel's like, dude, like, what the hell? You know, like, this is just like the worst thing ever. And Hansel's like, yeah, but like, we're gonna go back. And Gretel's like, fuck yeah, we're gonna go back. And then they'll like give us the love we deserve because we're smart. Hansel and Gretel follow the pebbles all night. They trek through the night. Birds, owls, like crying through the night. It's terrifying, you know. There's nothing more scary as a dark. You're 6. They followed the pebbles home. They knock doors. 6 a.m. Audrey's like, are you kidding me? You know, she didn't expect to face this, her terrible decision.
Fuck Audrey, I mean, come on.
And Charlie just looks a little tired. He's like, really happy to see his kids. He's like, I love you. And Audrey's like, no, it's them or me. Audrey's like, are you kidding me? So angry. Go to your room, children. Locks them in. They're like, what is going on? You know, Hansel and Gretel are like, all right, it's go time. You know, like, we're going to figure this out, but we're terrified. You know, we're 6. Finally, in the morning, Charlie's like, I do feel bad. You know, opens the door for 1 second. It's like, I'm still taking you to the woods, but sorry I locked you in. And Hansel's fuming, but he has a plan. Gretel distracts as Hansel sneaks up onto the counter and grabs the last piece of bread, the little butt end, all Audrey and Charlie had for the next week. He says, fuck them. This is mine. They go to the woods. He's dropping the bread. He is on top of the world, confident. Look at what he's done. His father will not outsmart him. And then they get to the woods. The parents leave. I don't really know how that timing works. Yeah. Like, the parents are leaving. What, Hansel and Gretel are like, all right, we'll wait 5 minutes. Yeah, like, all right, you guys get a head start. Like, what's going on?
All right, close your eyes.
Where do it goes?
Okay, put your hand out.
Wow.
And now open your eyes.
Wow. Oh my God. Domino's, literally best. I'm sorry, Domino's is my favorite pizza. Thank you so much. The perfect slice of cheesy bread. Look at that, mouth watering.
To sustain our high right now, some sustenance
thank you so much.
Hansel and Gretel weren't able to get, you know?
They turn back, the bread is gone. Now, legends say different things. It was eaten by a moose. It was eaten by a bird. It was eaten by Audrey. But ultimately, I think what matters is that the trail is gone and these siblings are stranded. And they've been through so much together. And so they keep walking. They're hungry. They're thirsty. They're tired when they come upon a clearing. Lights are shining everywhere for some reason they've never seen. There's like maybe even like a computer or something. Like something very... I don't know what computer. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking like smart home Disney Channel movie. But it's a house made of
it's the smart
whatever
house.
You want. I believe that Hansel and Gretel saw their favorite foods in that house.
What do you see when you see that? Yeah.
Cheez-It windows, Olive Garden breadstick, pillars hanging up. I see like a fruit tart as a wreath.
Whoa.
I see
what a house that would be.
I see like croissants and bagels and charcuterie and carrot cake, and we were talking about gushers that you have to cross a moat on, like little rocks. And Hansel and Gretel are like, we've never been so hungry. They immediately start running around. They're pulling candy canes off the tree. They're eating apples from the trees. When all of a sudden they see a door and they hear movement inside. And Hansel says, what should I do? And Gretel says, we're obviously knocking on the door, you dumb idiot. Like, we're here, you know? This is home. So they go up and they cautiously knock. And they hear huge footsteps hitting the ground. Huge, like earth-shattering. If they were in California, they'd be like, earthquake, you know? Earthquake! Yeah. But they're in Germany in medieval times. I feel like, I don't know if earthquakes were happening then.
Yeah.
Probably. But
in Germany? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't know much about rural Germany, but
so they hear footsteps.
They hear footsteps and the door creaks open slowly, and they're standing 7'8" is a witch. Oh my f***ing God! I don't know if the witch has gender, honestly. Like, it's just a witch. It's hard to say. But probably implied it's a woman, because women are evil. Anyway, sorry. She says, "Hello, children." And they're like, oh, wow. But Gretel looks at Hansel and is like, should we do this? And Hansel's like, dude, she said hello, and there's food in there, we're going. So they go in, and the witch is like, come, children, sit. And I gotta stop, I'm sorry. The voice is way too high. No. I can't, I feel like I have to commit, but I really feel very high. And she goes, take whatever, children, and meet me at the table. And she brews a cup of tea out of a cauldron. One tea bag for the whole cauldron. What does she think she's doing? The children get plates stacked to the ceiling. They eat. The witch says, oh, I'm so glad you finally arrived. I've been waiting. And they're like, creepy, but what are we going to do? We're starving,
right.
They sit on the couch, sipping their cups of tea, and the witch said, ah, ha, ha, you fools. It's a famine, and I'm going to eat you. And these kids are like, what is going on? Like, we cannot catch a break. Like, literally, what the hell is going on, What am I doing with my hand?
Do you want a joint in it, or are you okay?
I think I'm okay. I think my eyes are about to close.
Okay, do you need to,
You can close your eyes until the
Yeah, if you... You can if you want.
One day, the witch does go for, her daily strolls, where she sort of floats above the ground and haunts the forest. And Gretel goes up to Hansel's cage and is like, what's going on? And he's like, she keeps giving me
Wait a minute. Hold on. Plot hole right here. The witch is going out on these walks, and Gretel's just free. Couldn't she have unlocked him then?
That's so true. I went a little off on a limb there. So the witch is there, but she sleeps with the key.
Okay, there we go.
She sleeps this time.
Yeah.
And Gretel goes over to the cage and is like, Hansel, what the hell is going on? And Hansel's like, dude, she keeps giving me all this food every day. She wants me to eat until I'm ready to explode. And Hansel's like, she tells me she wants to fatten me up so I'm ready to eat. And I think this is just so weird. And Gretel's like, it's so weird, dude, that you're getting all this food. I'm just getting crab shells. What's with the crab shells? Where is the witch getting these crab shells? Yeah. And if you have access to crab shells, why do you need to eat kids? A very fascinating thing. And Gretel's like, well, what are you doing, And Hansel's like, get me a stick. Hansel begins to use that as the witch checks his cage nightly before bed. He would stick it out like E.T., and the witch would squeeze it and say, too thin for me, not ready yet. And Hansel would try to sleep after someone being that creepy.
Uh-huh.
Maybe a couple months have gone by. The famine is raging. And she says, doesn't matter, I'm going to eat. If you're really this thin, Hansel, I'm still going to eat you, and I'm just going to eat your sister, too. She said, breakfast, lunch, and dessert. Here we go. The witch turns on the oven. What kind of oven is this? I don't know if it's a preheat. I don't know if it's a manual, You
don't know what they had in the 1300s?
I feel like a little fire pit, right? And then they would have a thing that would hold,
Yeah.
So, the witch has the fire and is ready to just cook these kids to eat them.
Jeez.
Worst way to die.
That is an awful way to die. A slow cook?
And this is a children's book for kids.
They're not catching a break here.
No. Well, the witch says, Gretel, get my oven together. And Gretel says, I don't know how, witch. You have to show me. Gretel looks up, winks at Hansel in the cage. The witch slowly opens the oven door, but remember, she's so tall that just the tip of her eyeballs look inside the oven or cauldron or whatever the fuck. Gretel pushes the witch in. She screams. Ah!
Wait, one more time? How does she scream?
Dead. Gone. The witch is dead and gone. They're, enjoying the house, and they come across the room, and Gretel says, I'm going to look in the closet. And Hansel says, don't. We should get out of here. We don't want the witch to come back. Gretel says, F you, dude. I've been through a lot. And opens the closet, and there's a box. It's just diamonds, gold, jewelry, rubies, diamonds, euro after euro. What other? A lot of money worth of things. But these kids find this treasure, and Gretel's like, let's start a new life. Like, I hate this place. You know, let's see if we can walk to Spain or something. And Hansel's like, what are you talking about? We have to go back to our family. And Gretel's like, Papa who left us in the forest? Like we were, you know, dead goldfish? That's terrible. But Gretel's, of course, you know, Hansel's in charge because he's the man at 6 years old.
6 years old, even though Gretel's clearly
more mature and the hero
up.
of the story. The only reason they're alive. The only reason they have the treasure. Comes back and they see their father, Charlie, the bread maker, and he's crying. He's like, I'm so sorry I let you down. And they're like, honestly, we don't really need you. We just came back because we feel bad for you. Like, let's get this sourdough business up and running. And he goes, your stepmother is dead. And they all rejoice. And, you know, his mysterious causes, probably part of the famine. But then, like, they live happily ever after. I think Hansel and Gretel go to college, you know, and then their story's remade again and again. And, neither of them really remember the witch that much. They were 6, so. It's about family and how sometimes family will be there for you and sometimes they won't. But not everyone's coming along for the journey. As long as you have your Hansel, your Gretel. But.
Yes. Beautiful.
Thank you. I'm Carly, and that was Hansel and Gretel, the story of. Thank you so much for watching Once Upon a High. I'm so high. They will get you high on this show. It's a blast. My birthday's on 4/20. It's the only time I've ever been this high. I'm really never known fairy tale as well as I do now. This light is really bright. I ate so much Domino's.